Notre Dame football not only lost to Northern Illinois, but the Irish actually paid the Huskies $1.4 million just to come to South Bend. Now, this is actually pretty common in major college sports, and they're known as buy games. In fact, Notre Dame has another one coming up where they paid $1.25 million to Miami of Ohio to play the Irish. Now, typically, these are a win-win scenario because the bigger school gets what theoretically should be an easy W on their schedule, and the smaller school gets to play at a bigger program and also gets a nice payday, so both sides go home happy. We also see this in college basketball. For example, this upcoming season, Ohio State is paying several non-conference opponents $530,000 just to come to Columbus. 10 years ago, there were only 11 college football coaches making $4 million per year. Today, there are over 50 college football coaches making at least $4 million per season. The Pac-12 is suing the Mountain West Conference over a poaching clause in a contract. So here's what happened. After a bunch of schools left the Pac-12 entered into a scheduling partnership agreement with the Mountain West. Now, supposedly within this agreement, Mountain West built in a clause that said if the Pac-12 decides to take or steal schools from the Mountain West Conference and take them to the Pac-12, then the Pac-12 would have to pay a per-school penalty fee to the Mountain West. Now, currently, because the Pac-12 did, in fact, take schools from the Mountain West and add them to the Pac-12, that penalty fee would be more than $50 million at this current moment. So the Mountain West says they want that money. But the Pac-12 disagrees, so they brought this to court in the Northern District of California to ask the judge for a declaratory judgment, essentially a legal interpretation to find out if this clause is legal or not. College football viewership is skyrocketing. In fact, this season's opening weekend of college football saw a staggering 31% increase in viewership from just last season. In fact, there were actually 4.99 million people that watched Florida State take on Georgia Tech in Ireland in this season's Week 0 mega matchup. Now, this was actually the most watched Week 0 game in the last 5 years. But interestingly, it was still less than the 5.3 million people that watched an NFL preseason game between the Patriots and the Commanders. Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia is suing the NCAA. Specifically, Pavia says that the NCAA regulations counting a year of junior college or JUCO against your NCAA eligibility is unfair because it discriminates against students who choose to go to junior college and therefore also limits the amount of money they can make in NIL in college athletics. Now, Pavia notes a few examples to make his case. For example, he says if after high school you go to a year of prep school before going to college, that year of prep school does not count against your NCAA eligibility. Or if you play minor league baseball before deciding to go to play college football, playing minor league baseball does not count against your NCAA eligibility. So why should a year of JUCO count against? Now, a judge is going to review his case in an expedited hearing in early December, importantly, before the transfer portal opens, so we can see where Pavia will be successful. The University of Tennessee football program is actually increasing ticket prices next year by 10%, but they're doing it in order to pay their players. That's right, in an unprecedented and groundbreaking move, Tennessee has decided to do revenue sharing with their players from ticket prices. Now, this is the first of its kind decision by an athletic department in the new name, image, and likeness era, and is meant to increase funds for their student athletes to entice other athletes to join the program in the future. Now, in case you were wondering, the University of Tennessee football program alone made a $75 million profit last year. This fall on ESPN, you'll actually be able to watch college football at Pitbull Stadium. That's because musician Pitbull, aka Mr. 305, actually bought the naming rights to the Florida International University football stadium. So Pitbull's actually going to be paying the university $1.2 million per year for the next 5 years, with potential to extend the contract, in order to have his name on the stadium. He's also, as part of the deal, going to get 10 rent-free events at the stadium per year that he can use for the students, the community, and his charities, as part of his charitable efforts within the community. His vodka will also be the primary vodka brand of Pitbull Stadium. So Pitbull definitely just told the college football world, give me everything you got and don't stop the party, because his international love has extended to college football. If Ohio State fired their football coach, Ryan Day, it could cost them over $75 million just for 1 year. So let's break it down. Now, if they fired Ryan Day, they would have to pay him a $37 million buyout. That's just to kick him out of town. Then they would have to hire a new coach. A new coach would cost between $10 to $13 million per season. So we add that together and we get to $47 million. Then they would have to, obviously, bring in new players to accommodate the new coach's style, and presumably a lot of players on the roster would leave. So they'd have to spend between $20 to $25 million in the transfer portal at minimum. That's about what they spent last year, because they'd have to bring in a whole new roster to accommodate a new coach. So we're looking at between $70 to $75 million. Deion Sanders has unquestionably been a massive success for the University of Colorado. Since Sanders took over the program, the football program has reportedly had a direct economic impact to the surrounding Boulder community and campus of $11 million. Not to mention a 505% increase in merchandise sales. And perhaps the most staggering statistic is that students applying to the university increased by a whopping 20%. And they have also seen a 50% increase in black student applicants. So this just shows the massive transformative effect that Deion Sanders has had, not just on the field, of which he has improved the team despite their struggles, but also the massive economic boom that he's brought to the university.